Left of the box. Here's a little speech from Naomi Klein that I came across that I thought was very good, and she was at the University of Toronto. So the difference between feelings and reality.
But what we've seen in the press is a concerted attempt to falsely frame this explicitly political conflict as an identity conflict, right? A conflict over whether or not Jewish students feel safe and included. And there are many Jewish students here. We're going to celebrate Shabbat soon. But I want to unpack this a little bit because I think it's important. It's getting repeated here and about other camps, so I really want to spend a little time on it, okay? It sets a very dangerous precedent if we accept that this is grounds for massive state repression and crushing of political speech and academic freedom. It is the nature of political protests that we often do not feel welcome when we go to protests that are organized with people who have different worldviews than us. I would not feel comfortable if I were to go to a Polyev rally, okay? Now, I would not have a right to say, if I didn't feel comfortable there, that I was physically threatened unless I was physically threatened, right? That would be an experience of political disagreement. And I want to stretch this a little bit for us to.
I really like this point because it covers a lot of issues that one person's discomfort shouldn't be grounds to take away the rights of somebody else. And when we get into queer-related issues, which we're going to be talking about more today, that is definitely part of the case. Like, somebody uncomfortable in a public washroom because there's a trans person there doesn't mean that they are threatened in any way. And that's no grounds to then take away the rights of the trans people to be able to use the washroom that they identify with. And that's a right-wing issue in particular, that whenever they feel uncomfortable, that they don't want to feel comfortable anymore. So instead of dealing with that discomfort, they just want it to go away. They want it to disappear. They want to put laws in place to make sure that they're never exposed to that discomfort, as opposed to just, looking inward and trying to figure out why they feel that discomfort in the first place, or just being an adult about it and dealing with it.
Think about this. Narendra Modi is currently running for a third term, okay? He is a very dangerous person. He has brought fascism to India. If there was a rally on this campus of Muslim and Sikh students who named that, who said that this represented a fascist turn in India, it could very well be that some Hindu students might say that they felt unsafe, because of that. And you know what? They could very well feel unsafe because of that, but that doesn't mean that they are unsafe. It doesn't mean that they're under threat. Because what we have to understand is that this is what ethno-nationalism does. It entwines individual and personal identity with a project of state building, so that when that state is attacked, it feels like a personal attack. Now, in the case of Zionism, it is a particularly potent move because the whole history of Zionism is entwined with the long history of Jewish trauma. And Israel positions itself falsely as the only safe place for Jews. I don't accept that. I demand that Canada be safe for Jews. Okay? But because of the particular nature of this state building project that has entwined Jewish identity with this state building project and the issue of Jewish safety, when some people who are immersed in that ideological project see a Palestinian flag, hear a chant for Palestinian liberation, they may feel unsafe. That does not mean they are unsafe. And the media has to stop parroting that line, because it will not just stop here. It will extend and extend. And I am very proud, as I said, to be part of groups like JVP, which are trying very hard and are part of a growing movement of disentangling Jewish identity from this ideological state building process. It is a liberation movement, and you're going to see a little bit of it at the Shabbat ceremony.
Yeah, especially right now, with the actions of the Israeli government and the IDF and what they're doing, I'd argue that Canada and the United States is a far safer place for Jewish people than Israel is. By far. Israel is actively making it more hostile for Jewish people to live there. You know, it is this idea of their own land and stuff. At what cost? This is not going to end well for them. I don't like it's hard to think about what their end goal is. Like, it's hard to think because you don't want to think about it. You don't want to think that their end goal is to actually just wipe out all the Palestinians, all 2 million of them. But that's the course of the actions that they're taking. If they refuse to allow other countries to at least give humanitarian aid, that population will starve to death. That isn't going to end well for the people in Israel either, because that sets them up for all sorts of recourse from other nations. And just the retaliation attacks towards them as well, like settler colonialism. They set out to do these horrible things with this belief that it's never going to come around to bite them in the end. And that's the F around and find out on a national scale.